Hey, what's up, you guys and girls? This is George here, your friendly neighborhood YouTuber slash podcaster, and I'm back for another episode of Beyond Wrestling. And this is the season finale of season 1 of Beyond Wrestling. We've had over 15 episodes, and this is part 2 of the final episode for this season, because Wrestlemania is 2 nights, and this is the last night of the show for Wrestlemania. And so I was like, just do a 2-part episode for Wrestlemania and for this last episode of the season for Beyond Wrestling, because it'll be a lot easier to record. And man, this Wrestlemania right here, man, dude, it was definitely an emotional roller coaster, and I feel like that's not even enough to describe how this show was. This show took me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of wrestling fans, through many different moods, many different emotions as we watched this show from the beginning all the way up to the end. And and I feel like under the circumstances that we're all living in under right now, I think WWE did the best they very could with this show. Considering there's no fans and all of this stuff about them not canceling the show, whatever the case may be, I think they did a pretty good job. If I had to overall give my overall point of view of this show, I would say they did a good job. It wasn't perfect. There were some really bad moments, some bad matches, and or at least bad outcomes to certain matches that I felt were rushed. And you can find out what I thought about night 1 on my previous review. But the theme. We're gonna talk about the main event first, and then we're going to talk about my favorite matches, and then we're going to talk about the matches that I thought could have been better, in terms of the ending, and of course how certain moves were done during those matches. So we're going to talk about the main event first, which was Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. And this match right here, it wasn't a long match, but I think a lot of us probably expected it to be like that. Paul Heyman did say in the promo that the match was going to be quick and painful. And, this match was definitely quick and painful, but it ended up being, Brock Lesnar, he ended up being on the painful end of the outcome of this matchup, as Drew McIntyre, he ended up winning the WWE Championship. Now, it started off with Brock Lesnar. He had a lot of the offense early on, but of course, Drew McIntyre was able to hit that Claymore early on, but of course, Brock Lesnar, he got out of it, and then Brock Lesnar hit him with a couple of suplexes. Then the crazy part about it was Brock hit Drew McIntyre on the L5, and Drew McIntyre kicked out at 1. That never happened in all the times that I've seen someone do the L5 on somebody. Drew McIntyre, he kicked out at 1. I'm pretty sure there probably was some other people who probably kicked out of it at 1. I don't know. I know if it was, it certainly wasn't a lot of them. But Drew McIntyre, he kicked out of the first L5 at 1, at the count of 1. Then Brock Lesnar hit 2 more L5s, which, Drew McIntyre ended up kicking out at 2. And then, of course, Drew McIntyre was able to find a way to get himself back into the match. And he hit Brock Lesnar with, I believe, it was 2 or 3 Claymores. I think it was 2. He hit him with 2, and, he knocked him out. And then, of course, he was able to get the win for the 1, 2, 3 and become the WWE champion. And I just kind of wish that there would have been a crowd, because I feel like that moment of you seeing him holding the championship, that needed to be in front of a crowd. And me personally, I would have saved this. I would have saved all these good moments for the crowd, But I feel like some of the matches on this card for night 2, I feel like them being in the empty arena, it kind of helped in certain ways, But yeah, this was one of those moments where I felt like there should have been a crowd there. And there's another match. There's also 2 other matches I believe that should have had a crowd too for them. But anyways, this match, it was what it was. Wasn't anything super special, but we all wanted to see Drew McIntyre win that WWE Championship. So I'm really happy that it finally happened for him. After all the years of sacrifice and hard work and all the stuff he went through to get back to the WWE, he put in the work on the independent circuit. He came back better than ever. He came back jacked, strong as hell, and he got the championship. So that's really, really cool, and I'm happy for old Drew McIntyre. And of course, Stu Bennett, aka Wade Barrett, he made a cool little tweet online, congratulating Drew McIntyre on his win. So it was pretty nice. And then let's talk about the first matchup on this card, which was the NXT Women's Championship matchup, which was Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley, and this match is definitely on the top of my favorites, the match of the night. But you'll find out why. Anyways, I really liked this matchup. It told a really good story. Charlotte Flair, she worked the left leg of Rhea Ripley, which they say that she hurt Rhea Ripley's leg leading up to the pay-per-view or something like that. And I guess that was their reasoning for Charlotte pretty much getting the win, because it was a hard-hitting matchup. It was a hard-fought matchup on Rhea Ripley's end. I really think she brought her A game for this matchup. I like the little attire that she has. Some fans were saying that it was like a homage, paying homage to Dragon Ball Z and everything. So I kind of like that, and it was really, really dope. And I know a lot of people like, what? Charlotte beat Rhea Ripley for the championship? How could they let Rhea Ripley lose the belt to Charlotte? And I had a talk with my friend Ricky about it, and he was saying that like Charlotte, she's kind of just ran her course on the main roster, and and because of that, she's done all she could do on the main roster in terms of who she could fight. So Charlotte being in NXT is going to be a good thing for her career, and also the women there, because she can help put over some of those women, because she knows what it's like to compete in big time matchups. She has a lot of experience under her belt, so I feel like she can help elevate those women. And it's not entirely bad that she won the championship, because whoever beats Charlotte for that NXT Women's Championship, is going to be the biggest win of that person's career, whoever that is, or whenever that time may come. Overall, I thought this was a really great matchup. I thought this was the best women's matchup of the entire WrestleMania weekend. And congratulations to both Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, because they killed it. And this should have been in front of a big crowd too, because I feel like it was just a great match from a storytelling aspect. And so yeah, Charlotte, she's the new NXT Women's Champion. And because she is a 10-time main roster women's champion, so now she's got that NXT championship on her, around her waist. So and the thing is this, Charlotte, she has it all. I mean, people can hate on her if they want to, but if I'm a wrestling promoter and I'm building a women's division, I'm going to have Charlotte Flair as my women's champion starting out. That's just my honest opinion, because she can talk, she has the look, she knows how to work in the ring. She pretty much has everything you could want in a pro wrestler in general. So them putting the belt on Charlotte is going to make a lot of money. And so from there, we had Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. That was match number 2. And this match didn't really have no build up to it. And I know that can be a really bad thing, because considering, Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley, this should have definitely had some kind of story behind it. If there was a story, I missed it. And I've been watching everything leading up to this pay-per-view. I don't think they kind of just announced this out of nowhere. But it was okay for what it was. Lana, she tried to interfere, and it backfired on Bobby Lashley, which allowed Aleister Black, to get that black mass kick for the win. And I thought that was pretty. I was like, well, I feel bad for Lashley. He hasn't gotten the best treatment since coming back to the WWE, in my honest opinion. He should be in these big time feuds with people like a Brock Lesnar or Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns or guys like that. He should be in big matches, not filler matches and with no build up. That's just my honest opinion. Aleister Black, he needs to also be in more serious feuds too. He's been having some good matches like with Seth Rollins and everything, so he's getting there. I think with more character development, he will become a big star in the next few years, if he isn't already. And then, of course, they had a segment with Caleb. I think her name was Caleb Braxton. She's interviewing Sasha Banks and Bayley. Of course, Bayley, she's cutting this, heel promo how she's not really worried about what's going to happen in this fatal 5-way elimination match for the women's SmackDown Championship. But when Kayla asked Sasha Banks about, what it would mean for her to win the championship, Sasha Banks, she kind of, she had that little twinkle in her eye about winning that championship. And I think you can tell Sasha Banks wants that championship. I don't think Sasha Banks should be playing second filler to anybody. She should be the women's champion, no doubt about it. And the fact that she's not the women's champion since she's came back, it's crazy. And I know there's been different things going on with her. We don't know the full story. We only know what dirt sheets and all that. Them people like to spill lies, but I think this: if Sasha Banks can stay healthy leading up till SummerSlam, which is in August, I believe, if she can stay healthy all the way up until then, then I feel like she'll be able to win that championship, because I think that's an important thing to keep in mind with wrestling is, a wrestler has to stay healthy and be reliable. And so if she can stay healthy, she can stay consistent and keep the fans loving her, which a lot of fans do love her. But more important, to keep WWE impressed with her leading up to SummerSlam, then we could see her winning the title. And they do got Money in the Bank that's supposedly supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be May 10th. So if everything goes as planned with everybody getting back into public spaces, she could very well win the championship at Money. Well, not to win the championship, but she could win the women's Money in the Bank match, which would then give her a good opportunity to go for that SmackDown Women's title by cashing in the briefcase and turning on Bayley. Because it's going to happen eventually. Sasha Banks is going to eventually turn on Bayley and win that championship. So it's only a matter of time. And then they had a segment of Rob Gronkowski getting interviewed, and waste of time that they're giving on this guy. Then they had a Hyundai commercial, which is one of their partners right now that they have. And then of course they played a WWE 2K20 commercial. I can't believe they have the nerve to show that glitched, broken mess of a video game. That is a tarnishment to wrestling games worldwide. That game should never be mentioned. It shouldn't even be sold right now. And right now it is on sale because PSN has a massive sale. It's like 50% off. So you can get WWE 2K20 for $19, but I wouldn't buy it for that. That game is a broken mess, you guys. Do not put yourself through that. Go buy your game that you really gonna enjoy, that you really want to have. But that's just my opinions on those segments. And then they had Dolph Ziggler versus Otis. And you probably don't even know who Otis is if you haven't been really watching the show. But Otis, he ended up picking up the win because Sonya Deville, she got involved in the match, and then of course Mandy Rose came out there, and she ended up attacking. Sonya Deville, which allowed Otis to get the win over Dolph Ziggler. And of course, they've revealed what has happened. They showed the footage of Dolph Ziggler pretty much sabotaging Otis' date with Mandy Rose. And I don't know who the person is with the hood on, with the jacket, with his hood on, but that person, helped out Otis. So who knows who that person is, But so this match was a good moment, and then we saw Otis holding Mandy Rose and she kissed him. So it was a really nice moment, and I feel like the fans being there would have really made that a special moment. And then we gotta talk about the biggest match. In my opinion, this is the match of the night. It's probably, it's gotta be the match of the night with that by default. And you already know what I'm about to say. And that is Edge versus Randy Orton in the last man standing match. My goodness, this match left me speechless with the ending. I don't even want to spoil all the really cool moments of this matchup, because this is a match that I guarantee you, if you don't have the WWE Network, you need to get it now, and you need to go and watch this matchup. They literally fought all over the Performance Center. They did everything that you thought was imaginable for them to do under the situation, under the building that they were in. And then of course I gotta talk about how some of these dumb idiot wrestling fans on Twitter were reacting to it. They were saying that this match was boring. They were saying that this match was too long, which to me, if it's gonna be a last man standing matchup, it shouldn't be a quick match, especially with the story that has led up to this matchup with Edge and Randy Orton, and the personal history that they have, and everything that has happened in the match. The build up to this. It should not be rushed, and this was one of those matches where it's okay if it's a long match, and this is the thing, the same people who are complaining about this match, these are the same people who be cheering on these NXT takeover matches that be long as hell, that have Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa or Adam Cole them, and those are all really great talents, but they also have long matches on those takeover shows, and people don't be complaining about those. They be chanting "Fight Forever," or where's the fight forever from these dumb fans about this match? Because you can't. This shows you that even when WWE tries to do something good and positive, people still gonna whine and bitch and moan about stuff like that, and it's just ridiculous. Because this should have been a match where it should have been excusable for them to have a long matchup. They needed to have one like this, and this should have been one of the matches where fans can say "Fight Forever," but people completely crapped on it because they don't understand. A lot of these fans that crapped on this match, they do not understand true storytelling in wrestling. They don't get it. They don't get it because they're so used to their indie mutt show wrestling shows where everybody rushes, where everything's super high paced and there's high flying moves all over the place and people not selling anything. You know, they take all this crazy amount of damage, but they don't sell none of it, and they just go on to the next move like ain't nothing happened. And to me, that's not true wrestling. You know, this match right here was a great storytelling match right here, and much respect and props to Edge and Randy Orton for going out there and killing it. You know, go watch this match. Even if it's the only thing that you do from this show is go watch Edge versus Randy Orton. It's probably the best last man standing matchup ever. You know, and the thing is, these people that complain, they forget that when Triple H and Shawn Michaels, they had some crazy battles that lasted a long time, you know, and no one ever complained about that. So I don't understand the logic behind these people, you know, and the thing is this, these people that complain on social media, they only do it for clout, they only do it for attention, because they think because they have a couple of they might have a couple of hundred followers, they may have a few thousand followers, they don't even have a big enough account, but I think because they think they're popular online, they can just say stupid stuff without actually thinking. And the thing is this, if this match would have been short, people would have been saying, oh, it should have been longer, they should have been, oh man, they should have did more in the match. You know, so it's like, it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't type of situation. And I think with everything, when you put everything together, this match was just fine. And in my opinion, it's the best match on the card. And behind that would be the Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley matchup, because they told a really great story in that matchup too. But it was not the emotional roller coaster of a story like Edge and Randy Orton had. That match that Edge and Randy Orton had, it took you through many different moods, and that to me is a great quality wrestling match right there, you know. And so that's just where my head is on that. And I just think, you know, and I know there's a lot of things that WWE does that we are not happy with, but to be overly negative about everything, including the match that Edge and Randy Orton put together, it is just really baffling. And you can tell these people are probably marks. They probably don't even watch WWE like that. They probably don't. They just want to be negative just because. But anyways, I thought the match was top quality. And then of course from there we had Street Profits. They had defeated Angel Garza and Austin Theory. It was whatever. It was a whatever kind of matchup. You know, it was great to see the Street Profits win. You know. And we saw Bianca Belair. She showed up to help them get the win by, you know, knocking out Selena Vega. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, Street Profits won, so they retained their Raw Tag Team titles. And then from there, you know, we had the Fatal 5-Way Women's, you know, SmackDown Women's Championship matchup, which had Bayley, Sasha Banks, Tamina, Naomi, and Lacey Evans. And of course, during this matchup, frequently Sasha Banks and Bayley were teaming up, you know, and they pretty much tried to take out Naomi and Tamina. And the thing is, I like the tag team moves that we saw from Lacey Evans and Naomi. I think they would make a great tag team. And then we also got to see what Tamina can offer in the wrestling ring. We saw her power, you know. We saw all the good things that she can do in that wrestling ring. And so I thought that was some good moments for her, you know, because, you know, we don't see Tamina wrestle like that often at all. So them putting her in this match, I think it was good for her. It helps get her, you know, a nice little payday, and I don't see any harm in that, you know. I really don't. And then of course, you know, they all teamed up to try to eliminate Tamina, and then they was able to get rid of Naomi, and then it was just Sasha Banks and Bayley and Lacey Evans. And then of course they tried to gang up on her and destroy her shoulder. And then of course, Lacey Evans eventually got Bayley in the ring by herself, but then Sasha Banks, she showed up, which Bayley when Lacey Evans tried to go for a move, Bayley reversed it and pushed her into Sasha, which Lacey Evans hit Sasha Banks with that women's right, and which knocked her out and got her eliminated. But then Sasha Banks came back again a couple minutes later to help Bayley keep her championship. So it goes back to what I was just saying a couple of minutes ago, in that I do see Sasha Banks turning on Bayley at some point when she gets the women's Money in the Bank, because I think she should be the one to win the women's Money in the Bank. The match was okay, it wasn't the worst match, but it was what it was. I think it was just people seeing their favorites in there. So it is what it is. Bayley kept the championship, and so we're gonna see what happens going forward. I see Bayley losing the championship at SummerSlam. That's my prediction. And then of course we have probably the weirdest, funniest, craziest type of matchup of the whole entire WrestleMania weekend, and that was the Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena and Bray Wyatt. And this match started off with old vignettes of previous WrestleMania moments with John Cena and Bray Wyatt, and it showed older versions of their characters, and it was just really goofy, and I think they were just trying to present us with a lighthearted type of matchup, or I don't even know what to call this. Can we even call this a matchup? I don't even know what it was. I don't know. But it was funny. And then they had John Cena dressing up his old versions, like he came out as the Dr. Thugonomics. Then they had a picture of Bray Wyatt in the NWO shirt pretending to be Eric Bischoff. Then they had John Cena come out there with an NWO shirt and a world title. And then of course John Cena, he ended up attacking Bray Wyatt in the ring, but they went to some kind of they heavily produced and edited this, so it showed John Cena beating up on a dummy doll of Bray Wyatt, but then the Fiend came out of nowhere and pretty much put the mandible claw on John Cena and hit him with the Sister Abigail. Then he choked him out, and that was pretty much it. It didn't have a dramatic finish, which I feel like they was just trying to go for a humorous, lighthearted match. So I guess it didn't need that dramatic finish, but it should have had one. I think we was all expecting them to do a match similar to the Boneyard match that we saw Undertaker doing. But that obviously did not happen. It certainly didn't. And so the fact that didn't happen, I mean, it was meant to provide us a good laugh. It wasn't a super serious, it wasn't a match that you should take serious, and that's just the way I'm gonna leave it with that. It was an okay, it was just a funny type matchup. So and then also I like that they had Vince McMahon, the evil Vince McMahon puppet, on the commentary desk. It was just funny and hilarious, what I'm saying? But overall, like I said, if I had to sum up this whole WrestleMania weekend, it was very fun. They did their best to try to entertain us. It was good. It wasn't perfect, but it also wasn't bad. It was just kind of in the middle, and that's good. And a lot of people might agree with me when they say the Boneyard match, the Boneyard match with Undertaker and AJ Styles, Edge versus Randy Orton in the Last Man Standing match, and John Morrison versus Kofi Kingston versus Jimmy Uso. That was a really good matchup that helped the show. And then, of course, Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. Those were the matches right there that made WrestleMania very, very, very special. And I hope that it was fun for everyone who watched. And just try not to take it too serious, you guys. It was just meant to give us some entertainment and everything. And I do think, things will, get better once we all be able to go back out. In the meantime, we just gotta go by the guidelines that the government is giving us and just be safe and stay our asses in the house. Don't go out unless you have to. Wear your gangster mask or your whatever it is that you like to wear. I wish I could wear a cane mask and go to the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? But then that probably wouldn't work because even the old school cane mask had holes in it. But nonetheless, but that's just my thoughts on WrestleMania. It was good, and it gave us something to keep our minds occupied and not focus on what's going on, because you can't dwell on what's wrong in the world today. You know what I'm saying? And so, with that being said, this is the end of this episode. This is the season finale of Beyond Wrestling. And I just want to say thank you to those of you who tuned in, whether it's through YouTube or any podcasting app that you listen to the show on. And like I said in part 1, which was last night, the YouTube views and stuff for this show has been decent if you add them up over the past couple of months. And I like that I was able to put this show on YouTube first, because it makes it easier to put it out. Even though I know it's like 100 million wrestling channels, I'm very grateful that you all decide to pick mine for a couple of minutes to enjoy some good wrestling conversation. I'm grateful that I can still make something considering everything that's going on today. But with that being said, Beyond Wrestling will be on a small hiatus. I'm going to be getting some really cool ideas together for shows. I want to have a whole bunch of shows recorded, so when I get ready to upload them online, they'll already be done. And I'm also gonna come up with some new logo ideas for the show. You know me, I'm always trying to be different and push the envelope if I can. But I also like to keep things simple, because at the same time, because you don't want to go too out there with things. But thank you all for supporting the show. Thank you for those who listen. Shout out to Carly, to Veos, Christine. Those are Matt Murphy sometimes when he'll comment. But those are the main people I will see comments from on YouTube, on the YouTube version. So I had to give them, a shout out for that. And and shout out to Ringside Society for sharing the show. Rob Bass on Twitter, he always sharing the links and stuff. I appreciate everyone at Ringside Society. My bad. Oh man, I don't mean to mess up their name, but hey, it's late at night as I'm recording this, so that may happen. But I appreciate Ringside Society. Definitely check out their awesome wrestling podcast. Anyways, this is Giorgio, your friendly neighborhood YouTuber/podcaster. Until we all meet again, wherever that may be safe, look out for each other. If you got the resources, please help somebody else out in need. Catch you all next time. Peace out.